Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this super cute peppermint hot chocolate themed mug cake. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. That being said, let's get started. I have three 6-inch cakes that I've leveled and cut in half, and I'm going to be filling those with some Swiss meringue buttercream using my small offset spatula. Once my cake was stacked up, I added a thin layer of that buttercream all around the outside, and that's going to lock in all of the crumbs, and they're not going to show up in my final ice and be lumpy and bumpy. I put that in the fridge for about 25 minutes to chill, and then when you can touch your finger to the buttercream and none of it comes off, it's ready for the final ice. I'm using some chocolate buttercream just to tie in the whole hot chocolate theme, so a big dollop of that on top. And then using my turntable and my spatula, I just want to smooth that out to be as level as possible. I added more buttercream on the sides going all the way around, and then with my bench scraper, I'm just going to start pulling that back and smoothing it out as best I can. For all of the buttercream that accumulated on the top edge of my cake, I'm grabbing my spatula and just pulling that into the center, being careful not to fudge up my nice even top. I put that back in the fridge to chill, and now I'm going to start on my fondant. I'm rolling out some white into a long rectangle shape, and for the first time ever you will see me using a ruler. Normally I eyeball, but today I wanted to be a little more precise, so I'm measuring out how long and how tall I want my fondant strip to be. And then I'm carefully rolling that up. If you think your fondant might stick together, you can just brush the top with a little more of that cornstarch. I'm placing that against my cake and trying to keep the seam at the back, and I'm just unfurling that and wrapping it around. Once the sides of the cake were all covered, I took some of my scrap fondant and just balled it up by my hand, brushed it in a little bit of cornstarch, and I'm using that to go around my cake to smooth it out. To create my whipped topping, I have some cake pop mixture, so just some of my offcuts I mixed with a little bit of buttercream until I had a pliable dough, and I'm adding that to the top and just shaping it so it's a bit pointed. I added some vanilla Swiss meringue buttercream into a piping bag, and I'm just going to pipe on like a swirled pattern going up. To make the mug handle, I'm rolling out this long, thick snaky of white fondant, and I'm going to curl that into a C shape. I use my knife to blunt the ends, and I'm just making sure that the two ends line up so it fits perfectly against my mug. I inserted a piece of dried spaghetti into each side, and then I'm letting this dry completely before I add it to my cake. If you want this to dry faster, you can add a little bit of Tylose powder. Once it was all set up, I just added it against the side. If you find that the two ends aren't sticking right against the cake, you can add a little bit of edible glue or piping gel to hold them in place. I used a cutter to punch out two black circles, and I'm placing those on the front of my cake. I cut out two little small hearts of white fondant and placed them into the bottom of each eye. And then two light pink circles of fondant for the catchlight. I added two circles of black fondant to the top of each eye, and I just blunted the bottom so they would fit snugly together. I rolled out a snaky of black fondant, and I pinched the middle together to make this W shape. I blunted the ends and then added a little bit of shortening on the back and placed it in the middle of the eyes for the mouth. With the slightly darker shade of pink, I'm adding two circles under the eye for a blush. I smashed up a candy cane until I had some nice little pieces, and I'm sprinkling that all over the whipped topping. I'm starting on some of my decorations, so I've rolled out this brown fondant and I made myself a template I will link below of a little gingerbread man. I cut him out using my X-Acto knife, and then once I peeled away the excess, I'm grabbing my fondant tool and making 3 little dents going down the front of his chest. With some white food coloring on a fine tip paintbrush, I'm adding the detailing on his arms, legs, and head. To add his buttons, I have a little bit of shortening that I'm adding into each of the dents that I made. You could also add some piping gel or some edible glue, and then I'm popping in these silver dragées. To make each marshmallow, I started out with a ball and then I'm just forming it in my fingers. It does not have to be perfect because marshmallows aren't perfect. Once they firmed up, I used some edible markers just to make their faces similar to the mug. To make my candy cane, I have a long snaky of white and red fondant. I'm placing them against each other and then starting to twist them gently, going from the middle, working my way out. I rolled it out against my work surface and then just curved the end to get my candy cane-esque shape. I set that aside to dry completely before I added it to my cake. When I was ready, I trimmed the bottom down and then inserted a dry piece of spaghetti for placing that into my whipped topping. Using some piping gel, I added the gingerbread man to the front of my cake and then stacked up my little marshmallows. I sprinkled down more of my crushed candy cane, and then this was the final result, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe for new videos every week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.